6 a.m. waist deep in my own lake. Chainsaw roaring, cutting down no trespassing signs that appeared overnight on my property. The smell of gas fumes cuts through morning mist as I rip through metal posts I definitely didn't plant. 8 months of backbreaking work, 67 grand of my inheritance, 47 acres of rotting swampland transformed into crystal paradise, where families fish and kids swim. Then this bleached blonde HOA president rolls up in her pristine white BMW with a sheriff's deputy, claims my entire lake belongs to her neighborhood association. Says I've been trespassing for months while she watched me bust my ass daily. I was ready to lose my mind. But here's what this Karen didn't realize. I had every receipt, every permit, every single piece of paper that would turn her power trip into a legal nightmare. What would you do if someone tried to steal your life's work? Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, and share your own HOA nightmare stories. 6 months before Karen tried to steal my lake, I was Dex Romano, 52, divorced, and angrier than a wasp in a paint can. 23 years wiring houses in Bakersfield, living in a studio apartment where the HOA had 27 pages of rules. My marriage died the same week my grandfather's construction business finally sold. She got the house, the boat, and my sanity. I got my tools, a pickup truck, and $180,000 from Gramps' estate. I was scrolling through rural property listings at 2 a.m. fueled by cheap whiskey and spite when I found it. 47 acres in Shasta County with what the listing generously called a recreational lake. The photos look like a crime scene. Brown water thick as chocolate pudding, dead cattails, and a dock that had given up on life sometime during the Bush administration. The smell hit me from 50 yards away during my first visit. Stagnant water mixed with rotting plants and something that might have been a family of skunks. But underneath the disaster, I saw bones of something beautiful. I bid $127,000. Won it that afternoon. The first 4 months nearly killed me. I rented dredging equipment and worked dawn to dusk pulling decades of muck from the bottom. My hands looked like raw hamburger from constant moisture, but slowly, miracle of miracles, the water cleared. Here's a knowledge nugget that saved my ass. Moving water stays clean water. I installed solar-powered aerators that prevent algae blooms and create oxygen for fish. By month 6, I had 8 feet of crystal clear water. Bass appeared from nowhere. Weekend families started asking if their kids could swim. The crunch of gravel under their tires became my favorite sound. That's when the devil in designer sunglasses showed up. Brenda Kowalski, 59, bleached blonde helmet hair, an entitled attitude that makes you understand why people become hermits. She rolled up in her pristine white BMW on a Tuesday morning like she owned the place, clipboard in hand. I was replacing dock planks when her car door slammed. She marched across my property line without invitation, designer heels clicking on my gravel like a death march. "Excuse me," she announced, not asked. "I need to verify your permit status for this water management operation." I straightened up, holding my drill like a weapon. "Ma'am, this is private property." Her laugh could have stripped paint. "Oh honey, that's where you're wrong. This entire watershed falls under Shasta Highlands HOA Environmental Oversight. I'm Brenda Kowalski, Association President, and you've been operating without proper authorization." She pulled out a folder thick as a phone book. Official letterhead, legal stamps, the works. "As of today, you're in violation of community lake management protocols. Cease all activities immediately or face fines starting at $2,500. She dropped a citation on my dock like a gauntlet. Watching her BMW disappear, I realized I wasn't just dealing with a nosy neighbor. This was war. Brenda's first move hit me like a bureaucratic tsunami. Within 48 hours, 3 different government agencies crawled over my property. Fish and Game, Water Quality Board, County Planning. Each inspector looked confused. The Fish and Game guy kept scratching his head. "Sir, this is the cleanest lake I've seen in Shasta County. What exactly am I supposed to be citing you for?" But they all sang the same tune. Anonymous complaints from a concerned citizen claiming I was destroying sensitive habitat. Here's what made my blood boil. I was following every damn rule. Dredging permits, water rights documentation, environmental assessments that cost me $4,000. But Princess Brenda was weaponizing bureaucracy. Time to return fire. I spent Saturday buried in the county recorder's office, hunting for Brenda's weak spots. What I found was pure dynamite. Eddie Kowalski, Brenda's dear departed uncle, had built this lake in 1962 as part of a gravel mining operation. Original permits were right there in faded carbon copies. No protected wetlands, no endangered species, just a man-made settling pond. But here's the beautiful irony. When Shasta Highlands got developed in 1998, they'd skipped the watershed impact study entirely. 25 years of their storm runoff and lawn chemicals had been poisoning my lake. California requires environmental impact studies for any development affecting water drainage. Skip this step and you're liable for cleanup costs potentially decades later. I filed counter-complaints that would make Brenda's head spin. Called Fish and Game about illegal runoff from Shasta Highlands. Reported unpermitted storm drainage to Water Quality Board. Filed formal complaint with county planning. Thursday morning, I watched through binoculars as government trucks invaded Brenda's pristine neighborhood. Friday afternoon, my phone rang. County planning needed both of us at a boundary clarification meeting. The 1962 survey conflicted with the 1998 subdivision plat. Different boundaries, different water rights. But when I called Miguel Santos, the old fishing guide just chuckled. Amigo, if they're confused about where your property ends, they're also confused about where her authority begins. The boundary meeting ended with legal limbo, but Brenda had a backup plan. Within a week, she launched a social media blitzkrieg. Concerned Citizens Against Illegal Development appeared on Facebook overnight with professional graphics and photos that told lies smoother than a used car salesman. My dredging equipment positioned next to protected wetland signs, muddy water shots from week 1 labeled as ongoing environmental damage. The comments section reeked of manufactured outrage. The financial pressure hit like a kidney punch. Equipment rental guys demanded cash upfront plus environmental liability insurance. My bank froze the construction loan. I sat in my truck wondering if this fight was worth losing everything. That evening, I stood on my deck listening to aerators hum while bass jumped in golden sunset light. That's when I heard voices. 3 families had parked by the access road. Maria Gonzalez from Redding thanked me with tears in her eyes. Mr. Romano, my kids beg to come here every weekend. They've never caught fish before. Her husband Carlos grabbed my hand. Brother, this place is pure magic. Whatever you're doing, don't stop. Saturday morning, I posted a simple sign. Lake Restoration Educational Day. Free family event. 53 people showed up. Miguel demonstrated catch and release while Sarah Chun explained how aerator systems create healthy ecosystems. The sound of children's laughter echoing across clear water was better than any revenge fantasy. But the real victory was spotting that familiar white BMW parked on the property line, engine running. Late afternoon, Martha Pina, 78-year-old retired librarian, approached with a weathered photo album. Young man, I recognized this lake from my childhood. She opened to a faded black and white photograph showing dozens of people at the 1963 grand opening. Behind the crowd stood a large wooden sign, future site of Shasta Highlands Development, coming 1995. And there, barely visible among the onlookers, was a young woman with distinctive bleached hair, scowling at the camera. That's little Brenda Kowalski, Martha continued. When her daddy sold the development rights in 95, she pitched a fit that could be heard in Sacramento. Said this lake should stay in the family forever. The pieces clicked together. This wasn't about environmental protection. This was a 30-year family grudge. Brenda hadn't discovered my property dispute. She'd been planning this takeover since the Clinton administration. The certified mail arrived Tuesday morning. Masterson, Craig, and Associates. White shoe firm that represented half the developers in Northern California. The cease and desist letter demanded I immediately halt all unauthorized improvements to HOA recreational resources and pay $50,000 in damages. They weren't claiming I'd stolen the lake. They were arguing that my restoration work had improved HOA property without permission, making me liable for unauthorized construction costs. My lawyer shopping expedition lasted exactly 4 phone calls. The good attorneys either had conflicts or suddenly developed scheduling problems. Masterson represented 3 major development companies. Take my case, lose half their practice. I was camping in the county law library when I discovered something beautiful. HOA claims to water rights require dual recording. County level and State Water Resources Board. Miss either filing and your claim is legally worthless. The 1998 boundary adjustment giving HOA authority over my lake was recorded with the county but never filed with the state water board. But here's the beautiful irony. I'd been paying property taxes on this land for 8 months. County tax records don't lie. Miguel Santos called with information that changed everything. You need to meet Harold Brennan. Retired judge, spent 40 years handling property disputes. Guy hates legal bullies. Judge Brennan read Masterson's letter while chuckling. Son, they've made 3 amateur mistakes that would embarrass a paralegal. They're claiming damages without proving ownership, demanding payment without establishing jurisdiction. He leaned back, eyes twinkling. How would you feel about turning their intimidation into our counterattack? Judge Brennan's counterattack started with financial forensics. When someone throws expensive lawyers at a simple property dispute, follow the money. Shasta Highlands was broke. $340,000 behind on infrastructure bonds for storm water management systems they'd never built. But the real bombshell was buried in their development contracts. Legal obligation to provide recreational amenities, including a community lake with estimated construction cost of $600,000. The judge chuckled at my expression. Now you see the game. If they can steal your restored lake and call it an existing HOA amenity, they satisfy their legal requirements without spending a penny. I found the smoking gun in HOA meeting minutes from 2019. Board exploring cost-effective amenity solutions. Brenda's handwritten notes in the margins. Romano property acquisition target identified. She'd been stalking my property since before I even knew it existed. This was straight-up attempted fraud with documentary proof of premeditation. The power had completely flipped. Without my lake, they were facing bankruptcy or fee increases that would make residents revolt. Judge Brennan's grin could have lit up Sacramento. We stopped playing defense and go full offense. Quiet title action to settle ownership permanently. Countersuits for harassment, defamation, and business interference. But his final suggestion was pure genius. We mail copies of their financial records to every homeowner in Shasta Highlands. Let them discover why their president is spending their money on lawyers instead of fixing potholes. The legal strategy session lasted 6 hours. Primary objective, quiet title action. Secondary targets, harassment, defamation, intentional interference with business. Nuclear option, criminal referral for attempted fraud. Martha Pina became our historical weapons specialist. Her call to the Redding Record Searchlight yielded immediate interest. Tom Martinez brought intelligence. They're hemorrhaging money, deferred maintenance for 3 years. Brenda keeps talking about legal expenses requiring fee increases, but nobody knows she's spending their money trying to steal your lake. Professional boundary survey, $3,200. Independent water quality testing, $1,500. Environmental claims require scientific evidence, not legal opinions. Media strategy developed perfectly. Local TV showed interest. Divorce guy rebuilds life by saving dead lake. Gets attacked by neighborhood tyrant. Community support surprised everyone. Anderson Coffee Shops saved Dex's lake. Jar raised $4,300. But our secret weapon emerged from enemy territory. An anonymous Shasta Highlands resident feeding us internal documents. 3 board members are ready to revolt. Legal costs hit $30,000 and residents are asking why swimming pool repairs got postponed. Cornered animals fight dirtiest. Sabotage started small. Monday morning, my main aerator pump seized up. Tuesday, backup system's electrical connections had somehow corroded overnight. By Wednesday, I was looking at $4,200 in repair costs. Tom Martinez examined the burned-out motor with suspicion. Somebody with electrical knowledge did this deliberately. These connections were cut, not corroded. I installed security cameras that weekend. Saturday night at 2:17 a.m., motion sensors triggered. Grainy infrared footage showed a figure in white clothing creeping around my aerator station with bolt cutters. Security audio picked up the distinctive engine noise of a BMW X5 idling nearby. Physical evidence sealed the case. Expensive garden glove dropped near damaged equipment, still sporting a Nordstrom price tag. Our anonymous inside source reported growing chaos. Emergency board meeting turned into screaming match. 2 members demanded Brenda's immediate resignation. Legal costs hit $38,000 and climbing. But Brenda's desperation manifested in ways beyond simple sabotage. Local businesses supporting my lake restoration faced sudden inspection visits. The coordinated nature revealed professional guidance. Masterson's firm wasn't just providing legal services. They were conducting comprehensive harassment campaign. Media escalation became our saving grace. Reading Record Searchlight ran front-page story. Environmental groups rallied around successful restoration project being threatened by legal technicalities. Social media exploded with #SaveDexLake hashtags. Regional TV picked up the story as human interest gold. Political interest followed. County supervisor called for investigation. But most satisfying was watching Brenda's public image crumble. Neighbors who'd respected her leadership started asking uncomfortable questions. Her real estate license faced ethics review. Brenda's final gambit arrived via overnight delivery, coordinated smear campaign. She'd hired Whitman Public Relations, Sacramento firm specializing in reputation management. The attack launched simultaneously across multiple platforms. Facebook ads portrayed me as environmental criminal. Google searches returned sponsored results about unauthorized development. But the masterpiece was professionally produced video. Aerial drone footage of my early restoration work cleverly edited to look like ongoing environmental destruction. Fake testimonials from concerned citizens who didn't exist. The financial cost was astronomical. Professional video production, coordinated social media campaigns, Google ad purchases. Brenda was burning through HOA funds like a casino addict. But legal breakthrough came from discovery phase documents revealing true scope of conspiracy. Internal communications showed coordinated planning for target elimination. One smoking gun email from Brenda to Whitman PR, whatever it takes to discredit Romano, budget is no object. Criminal implications became impossible to ignore. Organized harassment, conspiracy to commit fraud, potential RICO violations for using HOA funds to conduct personal vendettas. Community backlash surprised everyone. Local residents recognized fake testimonials. Business owners who'd visited my lake started posting counter videos showing crystal clear water. Regional media investigated Whitman PR's history, pattern of controversial campaigns for developers and polluting industries. Political pressure reached state level. Most devastating blow came from unexpected source. Shasta Highlands residents finally learning truth about HOA's financial management. Anonymous leak of board meeting recordings revealed years of deferred maintenance and Brenda's personal use of community resources. Emergency resident meeting drew 3 times normal attendance. Brenda's isolation became complete when her own board members publicly distanced themselves. 2 resignations in protest, 1 formal censure. Motion for no confidence vote scheduled. Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Shasta Highlands Community Center. 312 people crammed into room designed for 150. 2 TV crews set up cameras. Miguel had organized carpool from 3 counties. Sarah arrived with busload of biology students carrying water quality test results. Brenda entered exactly 15 minutes late, flanked by her remaining lawyer. Masterson firm had quietly withdrawn the day before. Her replacement looked like he'd graduated law school the previous Tuesday. She dressed for battle in black business suit, but stress had hollowed out her cheeks. Her presentation lasted 12 minutes and felt like 12 hours. Charts about community water resources delivered in voice that cracked twice. Her claims sounded ridiculous in room full of people who'd actually seen my lake restoration. Scattered applause came from exactly 4 people. Judge Brennan took microphone like professor addressing freshman students. He methodically destroyed her arguments using comprehensive evidence. Ladies and gentlemen, we have documented proof of conspiracy to commit fraud. He displayed enlarged copies of internal HOA communications, meeting minutes showing premeditated plans, financial records proving misuse of community funds, email evidence of coordinated harassment. The crowd's murmur turned ugly when financial documents revealed board had approved $53,000 in legal consultation without resident notification. But smoking gun moment came when Judge Brennan displayed Brenda's handwritten notes from 2019, Romano property acquisition target identified. Whatever it takes. The audible gasp from 300 people sounded like air being sucked from room. Brenda's meltdown was spectacular. "You people don't understand what's at stake here," she screamed in a microphone, causing feedback. This community was built on certain values that outsiders like Romano will never appreciate. The racial undertones weren't subtle. Martha Pina stood up slowly and commanded absolute silence. Brenda Kowalski, I watched your uncle build that lake in 1962. I've lived in this county longer than you've been breathing. This isn't about property values or environmental protection. This is about a spoiled woman throwing a 60-year tantrum because she didn't get something she wanted. The standing ovation lasted 90 seconds. Sheriff's Deputy Martinez entered with official papers. Mrs. Kowalski, you're being served with criminal referral documents. District Attorney's Office is investigating charges of conspiracy to commit fraud, misuse of public funds, and organized harassment. Civil lawsuit papers followed immediately. The room erupted in cheers while Brenda stared at papers like they were written in hieroglyphics. Local TV reporters stepped forward. Mrs. Kowalski, how do you respond to charges you've spent community funds pursuing personal vendetta? Her response was storming toward exit while shouting threats. The BMW's engine roared as she fled. HOA board voted unanimously to remove Brenda as president and drop all claims. Residents approved emergency resolution to reimburse my legal costs and formally apologize. 30 days after Brenda's spectacular public meltdown, legal dust settled into sweetest victory I'd ever tasted. Court judgment confirmed my ownership permanently, all boundary disputes resolved, every claim dismissed with prejudice. Financial settlement exceeded my wildest dreams. HOA paid $38,000 in legal costs and damages, plus $12,000 for property tax reimbursement. Brenda personally coughed up $15,000 in punitive damages. Criminal charges hit her like freight train. Guilty plea to harassment and misuse of public funds, 18 months probation, restitution payments that would keep her broke until next presidential election. Restraining order meant she couldn't come within 500 yards of my property. Her real estate license got revoked. Business reputation destroyed. Personal bankruptcy filed. Social exile complete. Ultimate irony. She was forced to sell her Highlands house to pay legal debts. Meanwhile, my lake became crown jewel of Northern California's outdoor recreation. Weekend visitors hit 800 during peak summer. Economic impact studies showed local businesses reporting 60% revenue increases. Romano Lake Environmental Education Center opened 6 months later, funded by donations. Annual scholarship program provides $5,000 for local students studying environmental science. Public access agreement guaranteed permanent community use with formal trails, fishing piers, educational signage. What started as personal property had become gift to everyone who valued clean water. The angry divorced electrician who'd bought this property for solitude had become accidental community leader, environmental advocate, and living proof that fighting for what's right sometimes creates something bigger than you ever imagined. Maria Gonzalez's daughter caught her first 5-pound bass on sunny Saturday morning, squealing with excitement that echoed across water so clear it reflected clouds like a mirror. That moment reminded me why this fight had been worth every sleepless night. New relationship with Martha Pina's niece Rebecca brought unexpected happiness. Professional expansion into lake restoration consulting kept me busier than I'd ever been. The grand reopening celebration drew over 1,000 people, including state officials, environmental groups, and media coverage that made my story symbol for property rights victories everywhere. As sunset painted the water gold and children's laughter echoed across restored paradise, I realized something profound. Sometimes you don't choose the fight chooses you. And victory creates something more beautiful than you ever dreamed possible. Drop a comment with your own HOA horror story. You're not alone in this fight. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more David versus Goliath stories where the little guy actually wins. That's all for today's HOA madness. If watching Justice Serve itself made your day, smash that like button, share your thoughts down below, and make sure you're subscribed. More outrageous neighborhood showdowns are just around the corner.